Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's video. I want to talk in detail more about Dirt Bristol. In fact, NASCAR Cup Series and dirt racing going forward. There were some maybe conflictions of whether Dirt Bristol should stay in the coming years, but following this week's revealing of the TV ratings for Fox, over 4 million people watched this race, making it the most viewed Bristol race for the NASCAR Cup Series since the spring of 2016. So I think most people could say that this race is going to stay. But as far as other dirt tracks to maybe appear on the NASCAR circuit and things that NASCAR could do different going forward, like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we will get into this one. So first and foremost, I want to talk about my experience with Dirt Bristol. As a fan, I was able to see everything pretty fine. One thing that I had probably heard of the most was the visibility problems in the grandstands the year before. I was not at the race in 2021, but I was at the race this year, and I gotta say the visibility from the grandstands was pretty good under the lights. There was a lot of moisture on the track, of course, with the rain that came through a little bit before the race and during the race. That definitely helped. I think they would have watered the track, though, at least a little bit during those stage breaks, because we kind of saw them do that in stage number 1. As far as the race itself going forward, I'd personally prefer Bristol to race on the normal concrete layout. Of course, that is my favorite racetrack for those of you that don't know on the channel, and I love Bristol the way it is. Now, I do respect the fact that they have dirt racing in NASCAR. It does add a unique element to the schedule. We're seeing a lot of variety with the schedule as of recent years with the adding of road course races. They want to add more short tracks, and obviously cutting back on the intermediates. If we still have a fair amount of those, we have a couple extra super speedway races now at Atlanta. So this is a very diverse schedule, probably the most diverse in NASCAR history perhaps. So I think it is good to have a dirt race or two on the schedule. If we're going to have Dirt Bristol going forward, should it be on Easter weekend? I'm not entirely sure about that. The TV ratings would probably dictate yes. I almost wonder if you do continue to race on Easter for a TV ratings perspective, maybe you throw a race that tends to be hurt in the ratings this time of the year. Maybe throw a Martinsville night race in on Easter weekend or Easter Sunday night if you want to do the Martinsville night race then. So that way you know the draw of Dirt Bristol can bring ratings another weekend. It doesn't necessarily have to be the only race on Easter going forward. So that's kind of what I would do with that if NASCAR was going to race on Easter. I think Dirt Bristol is going to bring in a decent amount of fans as we saw this year. Was it helped with it being on Easter Sunday? I think it was a little bit, but I still think it'll be a very good rating. Last year's race was a decent rating, all things considered, with it being on a Monday evening. So I do think that should be maybe a reliable way to go going forward. The next thing that I want to talk about is other racetracks that maybe NASCAR should go to. Obviously, they've tested the water at Eldora and Knoxville in recent years, and I think Eldora is the most reasonable track for them to run another points-paying race at. Of course, Eldora seats 30,000 fans, which is about the same amount that Nashville Super Speedway holds without the temporary seating that they added last year at the Nashville Super Speedway. I think Eldora, they could definitely add 10,000 extra seats on the backstretch. It's wide open pretty much from the middle of turns 1 and 2 all the way till the entry of turn 3. There's no grandstands there. I think you can add temporary seating there so you can get a close to 40,000 grandstand seating capacity, and I can tell you it will sell out. They've sold out truck races there in the 2010s, and that was when maybe NASCAR was on the decline as far as spectators at the racetrack goes. The fans in Northwest Ohio, or I live in Northwest Ohio, but the fans in Ohio, I think they want to see a cup race. They haven't had one in a very long time. They've obviously chopped Eldora off the Truck Series schedule, and they've even chopped Mid-Ohio from the Xfinity schedule, now only hosting one truck race. Closest track to me is Michigan. Michigan, Truck Series not even racing there this year. And they only have one cup date as well. Other tracks in the Midwest, they have obviously chopped in recent years. Chicagoland no longer on the schedule. The Milwaukee Mile hasn't been existing in a while. Iowa's been taken off the truck and the Xfinity Series schedule. Indianapolis even, now on the road course configuration, no longer on the oval. Another track, Kentucky, in northern Kentucky, is only about 3 hours away from me, 3 to 3.5 hours away. And that's another track that is off the chopping block. So and no longer in any of the top 3 series in NASCAR. So I think the Midwest is a great market. I think we proved that at Road America this year with a new road course there that the fans in Wisconsin and just the fans in the Midwest that maybe can't go to Chicagoland anymore we're going to Iowa consistently for the Truck and Xfinity races, can't go there anymore. They go to Michigan once a year. Maybe they have a date available earlier in the summer, so they wanted to go to Road America like me last year. And I do think that that is a reliable option. It gets another racetrack in the Midwest. I think it's very easy. Tony Stewart owns the racetrack. I'm pretty sure he could throw a little extra money in there for temporary seating to get a cup date. I'm sure he would be willing to do that. Another track and maybe another reliable option would be the Charlotte Dirt Track. Now, the only problem with the Charlotte Dirt Track, it only holds 14,000 spectators as of right now, 14,800, so almost 15,000 people. Yes, they can add temporary seating, I'm sure, around that racetrack as well. It's the same size dirt track as Eldora Speedway. It's right across pretty much from the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and I almost kind of think that they should do this one as an exhibition race. I think the All-Star race should be maybe held on dirt one year, and if you're going to do it, bring it back home to Charlotte and let them run on the Charlotte Dirt Track. Again, with the temporary seating, maybe you could have 20 to 25,000 people there, 30,000. I think that's good for an exhibition event. And like we saw with the Busch Clash, with them being able to run heat races and run a main event with not the full field in it, I think that would be perfect for the All-Star race. Allow every driver their chance to get into the race, and maybe have a couple, lock-ins like with Larson winning the championship last year if you really want to do that. Or maybe the drivers who did win a race have an automatic bid into the race, but they have to race their starting position through the heat races, whatever it is, if you wanted to keep that similar format. But I think this would be great. It would be ran like a normal dirt racing show across America, and it would be with NASCAR's best. On top of that, you maybe look at some of the visibility problems that Dirt Bristol has had in the past, and even Eldora, when I was there in 2019 for the truck race, had maybe a little bit of a visibility issue. It's a little bit, when it's drier outside, the dust is obviously going to fly. Remember that these NASCAR races that they hold here, even in the truck series, maybe 32 trucks at the time, more this year, and then the Cup Series obviously having 36 to 40 entries on a race weekend, there's going to be more of a chance of that dust to become dust and not mud by the end of the race. Between that, the longer lap counts, it definitely makes it a little bit harder. By running the heat races throughout the course of the same day as the actual Cup event itself and the last chance races, you're going to get plenty of racing in, kind of like we saw with the Busch Clash and the LA Memorial Coliseum earlier this season. That could keep the dust down over the long haul of a normal feature event. They could have a 50-lap main event if they wanted to. They can make the heat races a little bit longer if they wanted to. They don't have to make it 15 laps. Maybe they make it 20 to 25, but have the drivers compete. I like the knockout capability, but that nobody is safe to make the race like we saw with the Busch Clash, kind of putting it back to the way it was maybe in older times where the best drivers had to qualify their way in on time. I really like that aspect of the Busch Clash. That's what I really like about dirt racing, that anybody can miss. You could literally have the points leader in the World of Outlaw Sprint Car Series miss the main event if they don't race their way in on proper speed. So, with that being said, I think NASCAR, if they were to run an exhibition race, that would be the first option. The second option would be at the Volusia County Dirt Track during speed weeks. I think they could add a dirt race during speed weeks. If they want to still run the Busch Clash at the LA Coliseum, they could do that a couple weeks beforehand, and then run a dirt car race with the World of Outlaw Sprint Car Series. Remember, the World of Outlaw Sprint Car Series, or I should say, if you don't know, the World of Outlaw Sprint Car Series usually runs their Dirt Nationals at Volusia County Raceway Park. That is a dirt track that is not that far from the Daytona International Speedway, which is also located in Volusia County in the state of Florida. That place only sits a little less than 7,000 spectators. That's why I would kind of make it not necessarily labeled as the Busch Clash, but label it as a dirt race with NASCAR. The Dirt Nationals usually race there on a Thursday through Saturday. It's a 3-night special. If they ran the Cup race, let's say, on the Monday or Tuesday night before qualifying for the Daytona 500 on the Wednesday, I think that would be great. I think it would bring fans in a week earlier for Daytona. It would help maybe the viewership as well for the World of Outlaw Sprint Car Series that weekend. And it would put more eyeballs on the sport. We've seen crossover events with NASCAR in recent years. They've done it with IndyCar a couple times at Texas with the Truck Series. I think they did it at Iowa as well with the Xfinity Series. And we saw them doing it with the Cup Series last year in the summer at Indianapolis. I think they could do a great crossover branding with the World of Outlaw Sprint Car Series. I think it would bring more eyes into the sport that maybe don't watch NASCAR and watch dirt racing. I know for a fact of people that I heard having conversations with and that I had conversations with this weekend that for some of their race experience at Bristol, It was not only their first experience ever at Bristol Motor Speedway, but it was their first experience at a NASCAR race because they are dirt racing fans. So I do think that this does bring in a new, maybe casual audience, but it is a racing audience nevertheless. And I think that is the best casual audience to go after. Go after these, fans that maybe only watch road course racing, watch endurance racing, watch dirt car racing. And by bringing more of that into the sport, like we've seen with road courses in years past, like we're seeing now with the dirt racing in NASCAR, I think that is more beneficial for the sport. I'm not saying flood the schedule with a bunch of dirt tracks, but I say 2 to 3 events. I say 2 points races. Eldora, Dirt Bristol could definitely be it, and then add an exhibition race, whether it's during Speed Weeks at Volusia County or whether it's at Charlotte Motor Speedway for maybe an all-star race weekend. Put $1 million on the line on dirt. That would be fun. I think you've gone to see in the last couple of years, especially in NASCAR, with running on dirt, that anybody could win the race. Joey Logano, Kyle Busch have won the race. They don't have hardly any dirt experience outside of NASCAR, believe it or not, in their repertoire. So anybody could go on to win. It's not like it's only favoring the dirt guys. I'd like to thank you all for watching this video. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.